It is Diwali after all, viewers, and Ayodhya is hosting its first Diwali since the consecration of the Ram temple earlier this January. The celebrations were unlike any seen in previous years. The government aims to break last year's Guinness World Record by lighting 28 lakh diyas along the banks of the Saryu River. That's, viewers, 2.8 million diyas. A team of 30 led by Guinness World Records consultant Nischal Barot has already begun the process of counting the diyas using drones across 55 ghats. In an eco-friendly initiative, the Animal Husbandry Department of the UP government has lit 150,000 Gau Deepak, a gesture presented to Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Those are the pictures there, viewers. It's absolutely spectacular. Special lamps designed to minimize soot and pollution are being used at the Ram temple to protect its structure, because this is the first time that Ram Lalla, who's Virajman, in 500 years, will get to partake in this celebration. Over 30,000 volunteers assisted in decorating the ghats, which will be adorned with flowers and lights, conveying a message of environmental awareness. To bring Hindus of all stripes together, cultural performances showcased artists representing 6 countries: Myanmar, Nepal, Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, and Indonesia, as well as a Ram Leela presentation from Uttarakhand. The Chief Minister used the opportunity to send a message to Hindus of all stripes that they must unite under the umbrella of an all-embracing Sanatana Dharma. And to understand really the significance of today, we're going across to Amish Tripathi, who needs no introduction. He is a celebrated author, viewers. He has written a large number of books on Indian mythology. He has reinterpreted Indian mythology for all of us. And viewers, fundamentally, he is an individual who can actually talk about the significance of today. Why, viewers? Because Mr. Tripathi also grew up in Kashi, where, viewers, the Lord there is awaiting a Diwali such as this. That matter, as you know, viewers, the Krishna Janambhumi matter, as well as, of course, the Gyanvapi mosque issue, tied up in the court. So Mathura, Kashi, all waiting for their day to celebrate a Diwali of the Ram Mandir wali kind, which is historical and epical. Let's go across to Mr. Amish Tripathi. I've introduced him at length to you, viewers. Thank you, Mr. Tripathi, for joining us. First of all, of course, happy Diwali to you and your family, and through you, of course, also to all our viewers. Now, why is Diwali Ram Mandir Wali, as it's being called, historic, and what is the message going out from Ayodhya today to all of India?
Firstly, Rahul, Diwali ki shubhkamnaएं to you, to all your viewers.
Thank you.
From my family and me. This is a very, very important occasion. It hasn't happened in, 500 years now. The Honorable Prime Minister, called the Pran Pratishtha of the Ram Janambhoomi temple, which had happened earlier this year, as the second Diwali. And I'd had the honor of actually being there. And the sheer devotion, pride of praying out there and receiving the blessings of Ram Lalla, you can't imagine what it feels. And why is this so important? We are a people who refuse to forget. We are the only pre-Bronze Age culture that is still alive. The original temple there was destroyed by Mir Baqi, Babur's general, nearly 500 years ago. There are various examples that I can give you of how we as a people refuse to forget. Let me tell you one specific one that we'd actually recorded in a documentary we'd made on the Ram Janambhoomi temple. Do you know that a British visitor had recorded that when he'd come to what was the Babri structure there, for centuries, millions of Indians had been doing parikrama around the structure, because that's where the temple used to be. And so many millions had been doing it for so long that the ground had sunk out there. And this is what that British traveler described in the 19th century. That itself
Wow.
shows the depth of memory we will refuse to forget. And what is civilization except the struggle of remembering? To quote Milan Kundera, the struggle of remembering against forgetting. That's why we are still around. We refuse to forget.
So today is about reclaiming our dharmic civilization, ridding it of a kind of colonial malaise, let's put it that way. Okay, so let me ask you this other question because it's an important one. And this puja is being conducted in the backdrop of a political effort to unite Hindus. It was thought that the mission to return Ram to his Janambhumi would have served as the glue. It hasn't. Why has this not taken place?
Look, I mean, I'm not going to get into politics and what elections play, but what I would advise, Rahul, is a civilization that has been around since the Bronze Age. Don't judge the impact of things by a few years, by elections over a few months. That's not how civilizations move. Civilizations move at a much slower pace. And to if you can imagine where we were not just 500 years ago, but just 100 years ago, just a 50 years ago. I myself remember, I'm 50 years old when I prayed for the first time at the temple, and that was when actually there was just a chadar out there.
Yeah.
One had to take a lot of security permissions to go out there. I'd gone and prayed. I remember my parents, we were crying actually out there because Ram Lalla was there. There was just a plastic
He was a hostage to politics. I mean, let's be honest.
and
And you had to go through this sort of bunch of
this
turnstiles and look like you were in
things.
Guantanamo Bay.
And the Pandit out there, we were sitting and chatting with him, and my father, my mother, he was crying कि भाई बारिश होती है, राम लल्ला भीग जाते हैं, हम कुछ नहीं कर पाते, लानत है हम पे. And that was the state we were in. Don't judge things by a few months or a few years. A civilization moves a lot more slowly. We are a civilization. We're not a mere nation. We're a civilization.
Well, that's very well put. Now, many have also look. I mean, I'm sorry because today again you've had people who've sort of raised an eyebrow to and criticized the involvement of the state in this celebration, taking it to mean the endorsement of the superiority of a faith and the desecration of secularism. In its defense, the BJP has argued that Ram belongs to all. He's a marker of our civilization. What's your response to some of these individuals who are perhaps raising these doubts?
Uh, Firstly, and the answer was there in your question itself. Lord Ram belongs to all. One of the most beautiful lines that I heard was from K.K. Mohammed Saab, a legendary archaeologist whose work actually helped prove the case of the existence of a Lord Ram temple, which Babur destroyed. And K.K. Mohammed Saab had said so beautifully to me while we were recording the documentary that Babur was a foreigner. He was from Uzbekistan. What do I have to do with him? I'm an Indian. Lord Ram is mine. And that is, to me, a true representation of pluralism and secularism. Secondly, on your point of the state being involved, I think this is a little disingenuous. I'm sure many of your viewers know the only religion which is not allowed to manage its own worship place is actually the religion of Hinduism. All other religions have the right to manage their own worship places. Many may not know this. Our temples are actually run by the state. The properties are appropriated by the state. There's not allowed on a Christian church or a Muslim mosque or a Sikh Gurudwara in India. The state has legally appropriated billions of dollars from British times, and unfortunately, this law wasn't changed even post independence. So, if the state invests a bit in our temples, they're only returning a tiny fraction, the state, it's only returning a tiny fraction of what it has already appropriated. And I've argued for the fact that just like other religions have the right to run their own worship places, Hindus must have that right too.
Well, Amish Tripathi, as always, very clear in your thinking. Thank you very much for putting into context, viewers, all that we are seeing on our screens. Time for us to move on. We're going to